Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Morgan J and I'm so excited that you decided to stop by. So as you can see, we're gonna be talking about the lessons that I learned in my 20s. So I gotta set the scene for you first, okay? So I'm 20 years old, living my life, wild chick, okay? Partying, doing what I do. One day I get this visit from God. And I know it's him because I wouldn't have talked to myself like that. And I decide from that day, you know what, maybe I am a person that God didn't call me to be. Maybe what I'm doing is wrong. Maybe this isn't the right path. So I decide that I'm gonna live for Jesus. So I decide that, then my ex comes back into our hometown where I was at the time, and I fall back in love with him. And then I get pregnant. And then we decide to get married. And then I deliver the baby, right? And this is all within the span of, it's literally less than 18 months. So it's like a 14-month span, right? So I give my life to Christ, I become a mother, and I become a wife. And so that's at 21. So I'm literally thrown into my 20s with all of these things on my plate, and I had no idea who I was. I had a lot of dreams, but those dreams were solely focused on what I would do as a single woman without responsibility, without kids. So I had to learn, how do I now dream again and learn how to create a life for myself, but while being a wife, being a mother, and being a lover of Jesus. Because like I said before, I knew God, you know, I had went to church, but I wasn't invested. And so once I decided to invest and actually pick up my cross and live that type of lifestyle, I had to live totally different than what I was living before, because I don't know, I just didn't want to be half-step. I'm not a half-step girl. I'm either gonna give it my all and just quit it cold turkey, or I'm not gonna do it. That's just me. I'm very opposites extreme. I'm extremely into it. I'm extremely not into it. So I mean, obviously God knew that about me. So I have my iPad right here, so I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you. I'm literally looking at some of the lessons, and these are just some of them. I might do a part 2 if I feel the need, but let's get into it. So one of the lessons that I learned is, what is for them is for them. Stop comparing. Oh my gosh, we live in a society where we can just see everyone's life. Like, all you have to do is open up the app and you can see, you don't see all of their life, but you see the good parts. You see some of it. And sometimes you even hear the bad parts of the story. So I don't want to just say that all social media is the highlight reel. Most of it is. But some of it is not. And I think it's just so easy for us to get wrapped up in that. And I fall victim of that. I'm not perfect. I will literally, if I've had to learn to program my mind that, hey, if you are feeling bad about yourself, if you're having a bad day, if you are anxious, if you are mad, girl, don't you dare click on that app, because baby, it'll have me spinning in a rabbit hole of like, well, why do they get to do that, or they're living like this and they get to experience this, and why don't I? And my 20s was a lot of that. It was a lot of that because, number one, I entered all of these phases of life without knowing who I was first. So if you are single in your 20s right now, I encourage you, or even in your 30s, to really get to know yourself. Know your likes, your dislikes, know your strengths, know your weaknesses. Become very self-aware, because once you enter into different eras, as they say, of your life, it's harder to find yourself, because there's so many things pulling at your identity that it's just hard to focus on who you really are. So I think that was my issue with comparing, is I didn't fully know who I was, you know, and I was searching for that, and to see other people who knew who they were and who were operating in that authenticity. That's really what I compared myself to, is the people who were able to like just operate in their authenticity, to be who they were. And I knew what was inside of me, but I just didn't know how to give that to people. That was my biggest issue. But I have just made it a point even now to constantly seek Christ for who am I? What did you call me to be? Sit down and find my favorite colors. Sit down and really go in on my strengths and my weaknesses, and really search my heart to know who I am, so that when it comes to comparing, I will always remember, hey girl, you are not them. First off, I don't want in my mind, I would want half the things that you have, but in reality, baby, I don't want that struggle. Like, I don't want what you went through to get that thing. Like, I don't want that. Honestly, you really don't. And you really probably couldn't handle it, because God has made everyone unique. That way we can handle the things that are thrown at us in life. And baby, that's not me. So that is one of the biggest lessons. Number 2 would be to ask for help. Oh my gosh, I thought I was Miss Independent, baby. INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that means? Okay, sorry. I got a little carried away. But that is who I thought I was. First off, when I was in the world real heavy, that was my song, okay? And then I just thought that, okay, I have this husband, I have this kid, but I could do it. I got it. Like, I wouldn't even let my husband help once I had the baby. It was just like, no, I have it, to the point to where I suffered with my first daughter. Well, she's my only daughter, with postpartum depression, because I wanted to be Superwoman. Well, partially because I wanted to be Superwoman. There was more to that, but a lot of it was that I wanted to be Superwoman, and I didn't know how to ask for help. I wasn't a girl who really ever asked for help. I was just gonna get it done any way I see fit, or the way that I saw fit. I still have that issue. I've learned though that, baby, you are just a girl. Like, I'm just a girl. I'm not an independent woman. I am, okay, maybe I'm not a girl, but I am a woman who needs help. I am a woman who likes help. I am a woman who wants to be relieved of the stress. So therefore ask for help. But I noticed that me being so independent kind of transferred over to my relationship with God. I only wanted to seek him when I just really wanted something. But other than that, like, okay, I could control this, God, I got it. And in my 20s, he showed me, girl, you don't have nothing. I got it. Like, I have it. But if you want to be stubborn, I'm going to let you do it your way. And then you're going to see the hard way. So I've just learned, baby, work smarter, not harder, and ask for help. So if I could give you any advice, whatever you need help with at the moment, and you know that you can't do it, baby, you better ask for help, okay? Number 3 would be that if you want better habits and you're not good at routines, I encourage you to habit stack. I have really went hard this year. It's the start of the year. But I really went hard this year on habit stacking. I realized that I really wanted to grow my habit of consistently working out, but I also wanted to learn how to get some quiet time in with God and kind of center my mind for my day, because I don't want to say a stressful job, but it's very, I don't know, it just makes me very tense, and it's unpleasurable, if I'm being honest. So I have learned that I need God to start out my day. I used to read my Bible at night, but it's like, girl, after that long day, you finally get a refresh. Like, how about you start your day fresh and full, and then by the time, if your cup trickles out, you'll be okay. And as of this year, I've really started to habit stack. So what I do is I'll get on my Peloton, but I'll have my Bible open, and I'm literally physically reading and physically moving my body, and it just gives me such gratitude of being able to have a body that functions, and to be able to read God's word to pour into myself. So I encourage you that if you are not good at routines, to just try to habit stack. And you start small. Like I started with 10 minutes of my bike, and so I had my Bible open for 10 minutes. Or even last year, I would go on my walks and I would have my worship music. So that was getting my worship time in, but also getting exercise. Or I would have a audio book. So that was, I wanted to read more books. So that would fuel my brain and get the job done with reading and also working out. So if you struggle with creating routines, then try to habit stack, and then you will get in a routine of that. Number 3 is people pleasing. You can't please everyone, so why not start with trying to please God? So I struggle with people pleasing so badly because predominantly the way that I grew up, I'm the middle child. Hooray! And my childhood was very complicated. And so I know that I developed that from a young age. I can even tell you some stories of where I know it stems from. So I know it comes from there. But I have learned that, baby, you can't please everybody. 9 times out of 10, if it's 5 people in the room, you might please 2 out of them. You might get lucky and please 2. So, why? I don't even know why I tried, to be honest. I have spent so many years people pleasing to where I didn't even please God because I wouldn't do what he asked me to do, because I was scared that if I told this story, somebody from my past that was involved in the story would be mad, or if I said the truth that somebody would stop liking me. And it has hindered me in life. And so I've learned that you cannot please these people. You cannot please these folks. So why try? As long as I please God at the end of the day, that is what should matter in my life. Number 4, rejection isn't always personal. It's often God's protection. Because I feel like these go hand in hand. Because I'm a people pleaser, I suffer with rejection. Because let's be real, who wants to be rejected? Who wants to be told no? Who wants to be told you're not good enough? Who wants to be told that you didn't try hard enough? Who wants to not get that opportunity, not get that promotion, not get that next job, not get the boy or girl that you wanted? Nobody wants to be rejected. And so I still to this day I'm learning, because let's be honest, yesterday I got rejected from the shop. And it sucked. And I really had to go and examine my thoughts, and I had to examine my heart of like, girl, you technically didn't even want that job, because you kind of already knew that it was something that would take away from the values that you have, the things that you wanted most important in a career. But it was really the simple fact of being told no. And sometimes those things make you feel like you're not good enough, or they make you feel like you didn't try hard enough. And deep down inside, you know that you did. Though it's challenging and it sucks. But then I went to Bible study, and we were learning about Exodus, and Ms. Jada was talking about that oftentimes rejection is God's protection. And in that moment, I did not want to hear that, because I was like, ugh. Like, I know, but I didn't want to hear it, because I literally had just faced rejection. And I just had to deal with it. And I had to go to God and say, hey, like, I know you rejected me from this. And I know that it wasn't particularly personal to me, but it was personal to my journey. That it was not meant for me to have that. But not in the sense of like, I have to feel bad about myself because something is wrong with me. There is nothing wrong with me. That just wasn't my opportunity, because God has something else, or God either has something else coming, or I just need to stay put. And I just have to be okay with that. And that's always my struggle, because I want what I want when I want it. And so rejection doesn't fall in line with that. So just know that rejection isn't always personal to you. It is personal to your path, though. And it is often God's protection. Another one would be that you really need community to not do life alone. I moved to Dallas about 5 years ago, and when we moved, it was just us and our kids. Like, it was nobody else. And so I went through a season of isolation, and then God brought us to this church, and I started to grow in community, but a part of me was so used to being isolated that I would kind of push them away because I didn't want them. And not that because of anything was wrong with them, because they're amazing to this day. They have been amazing from the start, and they are still amazing. It's just, I felt like I was supposed to do life alone, that I got this by myself, that my voice is the best voice for me to hear. And that is not true. That is detrimental really for you, because when you have a lot of negative thoughts consistently going on in your mind, and you have nobody to share that with, that is so detrimental to your health. Not only your physical health, but your mental health too. And God really showed me that, girl, you need people. As much as you think you can do it, which goes back to me asking for help. As much as you think you can do it by yourself, you can't. And it's okay to not do it by yourself. Like, I created others so that you would have community and not just yourself. So I encourage you that if you are struggling, if you feel isolated, sometimes we are in the isolated season and God is doing that. But sometimes when it's time to come out of that isolation, we stay there because we have become so comfortable with being by ourselves that it's hard to not be by ourselves. So I just encourage you, try to find community. I encourage you to go to church. And if you haven't found a church home, or you're not really into going to church, I encourage you to check out community pages. A lot of communities out here have apps, and it has like community groups in there, or like events where you can meet people. But I just encourage you to get out your house. Maybe call up that friend you haven't talked to in a while. Maybe reach out to an old friend on Facebook that you know. Hey man, I see you out here really living kind of similar to the way that I would want to live. I feel like you would have some advice for me. But I encourage you just to find community. Community is amazing, and it'll take you a lot further than you taking yourself by yourself. One is to consult with God first, because doing things out of desperation will lead to destruction. I'm saying that for me. Listen, as strong as a relationship that I have with God, a lot of times I leave him out. And it's not because I'm being ugly or anything. I'm stubborn, and I like things to go my way, and I like to do what I want to do. And so when I find when I leave God out of my situations, or when I don't ask God first, hey, should I take this job? Most of the time it has been with a job. That has been probably like my biggest example of desperation. It's like when I haven't worked for some months and I'm looking for a job, and I will often take that job and then be miserable, y'all. Like, so miserable, because that's what I decided to do. And it's like, all I had to do was pray first, girl. All you had to do was pray first, and you would have been okay. But no, you had to say yes. And then you go to work, and you're miserable, and you angry at work, and you pissed off, and you trying to be mean to people. They didn't do nothing to you. You did that to yourself. So don't be like me. I encourage you to consult with God. Pray, say a little prayer, and then just wait a couple seconds. He'll give you a verbal yes. He'll give you a yes or no through somebody else. He'll give you a feeling. He'll give you that discernment. He will lead you. So before you go down in destruction, baby, don't be desperate, because desperate When they say desperate times comes for desperate measures, no, it don't. No, it don't. Call on God first, because them desperate measures, baby, it'll lead you into something that you never should have been in the first place. Trust me, I know. This one is funny. Okay, so it says the Joneses don't even have it, so why bother keeping up with them? Let me say that again. The Joneses don't even have it. Why bother keeping up with them? I don't even think I have to further explain that one. Obviously, we live in a culture where we can see everybody's life, and the things that they have make us want those things, and we shouldn't have those things. And sometimes they don't even have those things. And so I've learned that. Like, girl, stay in your lane. Buy what you can afford. Live the way that you can afford to live. Stay within your means, not their means, your means. Because I'm not saying that people who are flossy or, live a lavish lifestyle, that they don't actually have it, because a lot of people do. I'm just saying, we don't know if they do or if we don't. So why bother keeping up with the Joneses? Sometimes they don't have it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave that there. One is, life works in seasons, so you won't be in that place forever. Oftentimes we're in a place that we don't want to be, and it's been months, y'all. Sometimes it might be a year, sometimes it might be a year and a half, sometimes it might be 2 years. And we feel like, bro, if we're not out of this season quickly, that means we're going to be here forever. And life works in seasons. So another one that I've learned is that you have to be intentional about your growth. I'm currently reading The 15 Inevitable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell, and it is changing my life. It's basically talking about how a lot of times in life we just automatically think we're going to grow because we age, when that's not the truth. That in order to actually grow, actually become the person that you've envisioned, actually become the person that God called you to be, that you have to be intentional about that growth. And so that is something that I learned, I would say, the last year of my 20s, really. I just started reading the book, but the last year of my 20s, I really started to focus and be like, okay, girl, who do you want to be? How do you want to operate? But match it up with who you know that God says you are and what you feel like God is calling you to do. But you have to be intentional about that. You're not going to find out who God has called you to be by just going through life, going to your everyday job, doing your everyday tasks without sitting down and like looking in the Bible, without sitting down consulting God, without sitting down and maybe finding a mentor or someone to pour into you, without sitting down and exercising, eating right. Like, all of those things take intentionality. And so in order to grow, in order to be your best self, in order to be this glow up person, that's the thing now, you have to be intentional about doing that. And so I just encourage you to not just to go through life aging and getting older, but actually while you're aging and getting older, that you're intentional about your growth. You're intentional about who you want to be, how you want to operate, and the things that you want to do in this world. Another one is that perfectionism is the killer of creativity. Oh my gosh, from someone who is very creative but also struggles with perfectionism, I know. Oftentimes I'm waiting and waiting and waiting till everything is perfect. Guys, I've shot this video, the lessons that I've learned, 3 times, I think. And it's because I'm waiting for my hair to be perfect. I was waiting for better lighting. I was waiting for a better microphone. I was waiting for the fat in my face to go down. Like, bro, waiting for everything, waiting for the perfect moment. And then I finally said, I am so tired. Like, it becomes like a parasite in your stomach that bothers you, that makes you nervous, that I don't know. I don't even know how to explain this feeling, but it's like agony and pain inside when you're holding when you're holding in your gift of creativity, when you're holding in something that God has called you to be. I encourage you, maybe you don't feel like you're very creative and it's not like something that you want to create, but perfectionism is holding you back from being obedient to God. Perfectionism is holding you back from applying for that job. Maybe it's holding you back from moving to a new city. Nothing is going to be perfect. Like, we're always going to find something to nitpick. We're always going to find something to say, well, if it was like this would be better. That's where it's human nature. We're always going to do that. So I just encourage you to just do it, man. Just jump, just start, just go for your dreams. Dream and dream big. Don't dream small. Make small goals to get to that big dream. If you don't even know how to get there, try one thing. I don't oftentimes know how to get to my dream, but I've just realized that one step at a time will unveil the path to your dream, or one step at a time will reveal, like, hey, I don't even really want the thing that I wanted. I actually want this. And then you're able to pivot. But if you don't know, then you'll keep wondering where to go and how to do it. And my last lesson that I have learned is that you don't have to do what the culture says that you have to do. You don't even have to believe what the culture says that you should believe, or the way that you should operate. That is so big. I think that when you're in your 20s, you're trying to find yourself. You're trying to find out what you believe, who you want to be, where you want to go. And social media is so loud and in your ear that sometimes we start to believe, because we see it, we start to believe that that's what we want to in life. And then you get to say that you're 21, and then you get to 25 and you're like, I've been striving for this thing that I didn't want to begin with. And so I just encourage you now to shut your ears to that. Like, seek God and find out who He wants you to be and what He wants you to do, because culture will have you out here chasing money when deep down inside you don't even value the money. It'll have you out here trying to climb the corporate ladder and you want to be an entrepreneur, or vice versa. It'll have you out here trying to be an entrepreneur when you really enjoy working in teams and working for someone and helping build their vision. But culture will tell you that this is better than this, when neither one is better than the other. It's simply just what your path is supposed to be. So I encourage you to seek God and not seek culture, baby, because culture will have you out here wanting things that you should have never wanted in the beginning. So guys, I really do hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed this content, or maybe you enjoy lifestyle, fashion, fragrance, and God, I would love for you to subscribe, because that's definitely what you will get here. Thank you guys, and always do everything with love.